And ultimately, each of us is a kshetra. Because we are a space that needs to be protected, that needs to be guided, right?
Okay.
So as kshetra pala, as the one who protects and provides for a sacred space, he is like a personal guardian deity.
So if you want to protect your own self, your own family, yeah, and Kalabhairavashtakam is the go-to mantra.
Yes.
Right.
देवराजसेव्यमानपावनाघ्रिपङ्कजं व्यालयज्ञसूत्रमिन्दुशेखरं कृपाकरं नारदादियोगिवृन्दवन्दितं दिगम्बरं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे.
ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್, ಶೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Welcome to Infotainment. In the last episode, we tried to decode the meaning of first 4 shlokas of Kalabhairavashtakam. Going ahead, we still have 4 shlokas as it is in Ashtakam, and we have the Phalashruti, the benefits you gain out of chanting these mantras. So let us understand all these things in today's episode with Vidhya Sreenivasan. Welcome to my show.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, going to the 5th shloka of Kalabhairavashtakam.
So we look at the way to recite the 5th shloka of the Kalabhairavashtakam, and we look at the meaning as well. Dharma setu palakam tva marganashakam karma pasha mochakam susharmadayakam vibhum swarna varna shesha pasha shobhitanga mandalam kashikapuradhinatha kalabhairavam bhaje. Dharma setu palakam. So, dharma, setu. Setu means a bridge. So, the path or the bridge towards dharma. Palaka means to take care of, to protect. So, he protects any endeavors that are built towards dharma. Tu adharma marga nashakam. And any path that goes towards adharma, he destroys that path. Karma pasha mochakam. So, sharmadayakam vibhum. He rescues you from karma. Karma pasha mochakam. Mochakam is to rescue, is to liberate. Pasha means the rope, right? So he rescues you from any kind of a karma. So sharmadayakam vibhum. Sharma means happiness. So sharma, he gives you great happiness. So sharmadayakam, to give. So he gives you great happiness. Vibhum. Vibhum means he who is omnipresent. Swarna varna shesha pasha shobhitanga mandala. Let's look at what this means. Swarna varna means golden colored.
Right.
Swarna varna shesha. Shesha refers to Adishesha, the snake.
Okay.
Pasha shobhitanga mandalam. Basically, he has the golden hued Adishesha who's wrapped around his body. Pasha means looped like a rope. Shobhita, to beautify. Anga means body part. Mandalam means as a circle. So the golden hued serpent Adishesha is wrapped around him very beautifully and it's ornamenting him. Now this is symbolic of a mastery over the elements and a mastery over energy. Because one of the things that snakes stand for as a symbol is energy. And we know that the Kundalini Shakti, which is latent and potent inside each of us, it slowly starts to awaken when we do our sadhana. And that is in the form of a serpent. Right? So a snake represents energy. And having a snake wrapped around him, and we see the symbolism with Ganesha as well.
Right.
We see that sometimes he's, snakes are wrapped around his stomach. And we see it with Devi as well, right? Naga Kankana Nataraja Manohari, one of the descriptions of Devi. So she has little snakes around her wrists like bangles. And we see the same thing in the description of Shiva as well. So Kalabhairava has snakes wrapped around him, conveying his mastery over energy. Kashikapuradhinatha Kalabhairavam bhaje. Going on to the 5th shloka. The 6th shloka. Ratnapada. Going on to the 6th shloka. Ratnapaduka prabhabhiramapada yugmakam nityamadvitiyam ishtadaivatam niranjanam मृत्युदर्पनाशनं करालदंष्ट्रमोक्षणं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे रत्नपादुका प्रभा अभिराम pada yugmakam. So his beautiful 2 feet, pada yugmakam means a couple of feet, 2 feet, are adorned by beautiful sandals which are studded with gems. Ratna paduka. So he's wearing beautiful sandals which are studded by gems. Nityam advitiyam ishtadaivatam niranjanam. Nityam means eternal, to be eternal. Advitiyam. Dvitiya, dva means 2. So he who is without a second, he who is primary, that there is no concept of a second person when it comes to him, because he is everything.
You cannot compare him to anybody.
The incomparable, right? Advitiyam Ishtadaivatam, the beloved Deva, the beloved deity. Niranjanam. Niranjanam means he who is pure. Mrityu Darpanashanam Karala Damshtra Mokshanam. Very beautiful lines. Mrityu Darpa. Mrityu means death and Darpa means pride. So he who destroys pride, he who destroys death, Nashanam is to destroy. And we already saw what it means to destroy death, to be death to death.
Yes.
Karala Damshtra Mokshanam. Karala means terrible, fierce. Damshtra means fangs, sharp teeth. Mokshanam means to liberate. He who liberates us with his fierce teeth. Right? And here again, there is a very strong similarity to a dog. You can almost imagine yourself as being in a situation where you're trapped and the dog uses his teeth to liberate you. To be tear away ropes that are binding you, whatever. Right? It's a very similar kind of an image that I get in mind when I read this. He who with his fierce fangs, with his fierceness, he destroys the vices that you carry. He destroys the negativities that are with you. Right? And we often see this with energies like Kalabhairava and Kali as well, where there is a tremendous amount of fierceness that they are described with. Right? All of their iconography is very fierce. Wearing skulls, fierce hair, dark black in complexion, having huge fangs, right? Blood dripping. So all of these descriptions convey a tremendous energy that is needed for our transformation. Because when we're talking about transforming base qualities, when we're talking about transforming extremely draining qualities like fear, guilt, or any other thing, any other negative pattern that we carry from our past, it requires a lot of energy to actually make a transformation, to transform that kind of energy into liberating energy, into high energy, into the energy of love, right? Into the energy of gratitude, into knowledge, right? Knowledge, the light that liberates. But for that transformation, you need a significantly powerful, transforming, fierce energy, like the energy of Kalabhairava, who liberates you with the sharpness of his teeth. Right? There's actually this very beautiful English poem called The Hound of Heaven, which describes dog as a hound, a fierce dog. God as a fierce dog who actually drags you through all of your, all of the things that you're suffering from, right? He doesn't ask for permission before doing that. He decides you need this and he drags you like a hound. So Kalabhairava is a lot like that, right? Kashika Puradhinatha Kalabhairavan Bhaji. I worship that Supreme Lord of Kashi, of the city of Kashi.
Yes.
So, moving on to the 7th shloka of the Kalabhairavashtakam. अट्टहास भिन्न पद्मजाण्डकोश संततिं दृष्टपात नष्टपाप जालमुग्रशासनम् अष्टसिद्धिदायकं कपालमालिकाधरं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे. Let's look at what it means. अट्टहास भिन्न पद्मजाण्डकोश संतते. Attahasa means a very loud laugh, a huge laugh, a rolling laugh. Hasa Bhinna. Bhinna means to scatter, to shatter, to destroy. Padmajanda Kosha Samtati. Padmaja is one of the names of Brahma. He who is born from a Padma, from a lotus. Padmaja, Anda, Kosha. Anda means an egg, Kosha means layers, and Santatin is a continuum. So this actually refers to all of the layers of creation that we find, because Brahma is the creator. All of the layers, the kosha means layers. So all of the layers of creation that we find around us. What does Kalabhairava do to these layers of creation, these layers that, and ultimately creation is a play, but we also do have to get to the supreme consciousness behind that creation.
Okay.
Because creation is a play, it's like putting on a theatre, an act, right? Which is enjoyable. But at the end of the day, you also have to get to the knowledge of Advaita, which basically means to understand that there is no distinction, there is no two. There is one supreme consciousness behind everything. What does Kalabhairava do? What does he do to the creation of Brahma, to the layers that hide the truth from us? With his ferocious laughter, he destroys those layers. He destroys illusion so we can glimpse truth. The truth of the supreme consciousness. The light of the supreme consciousness. Drishtapata Nashtapapa Jalam Ugra Shasanam. Drishti means sight. Pata means to fall. Nashta Papa Jalam Ugra Shasanam. When his sight falls on us, it destroys the web of Papa. Papa Jalam. Jalam means a web, right? A web of a lot of Papa, bad karma, negative patterns. The things that trap us, the things that don't let us rise, the things that don't liberate us, the things that keep holding us in their control. So we don't feel like we are able to move and act based on what is it that we want to do. The things that hold us back, essentially. When his drishti falls, when his sight, when he looks at us, that is enough to pull us out of the things that trap us. Ugra Shasanam. Ugra means ferocious. Shasana means rule.
Yeah.
His rule is ferocious. It's high energy. It doesn't wait for you to say, okay, now I'm prepared for this. He doesn't wait for that. That's his energy. Right? Ashta Siddhidayakam Kapala Malikadharam. He who grants us the Ashta Siddhis. Now Siddhi basically means a gift or an attainment. An achievement. Right? When you progress to a level where you attain something, that's a siddhi. And traditionally we have what is known as the Ashta Siddhis, which are a set of 8 very powerful siddhis. There's like a whole lot of them, and most of it's centered around control over the elements, right?
It talks about how to control your own self, yoga, people who attain the Ashtanga yoga, at the end of the Ashtanga yogas, they are said to attain these Ashtasiddhis, Anima, Garima, Lagrima.
Exactly.
It is like lowering your body, enhancing your body,
Correct.
and taking the shape of whatever form you need at that point of time. So it is basically molding your own body, your own self, your own physical being into the need of the time, hour. So if I want to look gigantic, I can look. If I have to look tiny, I have to. So
like Hanuman.
Yeah,
Right.
the best example, because when he reaches Lanka, he is said to
Very tiny.
very tiny, and then he roams around Lanka, so that nobody gets to know that he is invigilating the place. So that's how, and he, even when he has to, it is said that he jumps, he crosses the ocean. So when he crosses the ocean, he attains such gigantic form that it was so easy for him to,
Absolutely.
So all these are Ashtasiddhis that were usually attained from the yogis, those who wanted to attain something more beyond what is just the normal state of us. So to attain this, I think Kalabhairavashtakam is one of the
I'm not sure. No promises made there. But the Kalabhairava helps us attain these siddhis. If we wish to,
At
and if there is a
least
need for it.
to have that stability and calmer state in today's life. That is all needed.
Absolutely. Kapala Malika Dharam. Kapala means skulls and Malika means a mala.
So he is wearing it is his description how he looks like.
And the skulls are also a very interesting symbol here, because it represents death, right? The head represents the ego. So when the head has been severed, and when you are looking at a skull which is, when the entire flesh is just gone away, so it's the remnant of an ego that has been destroyed, right? So he wears a garland of skulls, so that's what it represents for us. He who destroys the ego, he who destroys illusion. And a certain Kashi itself is a place, right? It is associated with both death and liberation, because we have a lot of people actually wish to die in Kashi. They go to Kashi to die because they want to be cremated in Kashi. And as we know, some of the ghats of Kashi, the Manikarnika Ghat and the Harishchandra Ghat, these are famous because you constantly have dead bodies that have been burning in these ghats, and they keep arriving. They keep arriving. This process has been happening for like thousands of years without disruption. Right?
No break.
No break. The bodies are brought, they are burned, the bodies are brought, they are burned. And it's astounding because you don't smell any kind of putrefaction. There's no smell that comes, right, from the burning bodies. And it is treated as the most normal thing because you have people walking around, going to the ghats, going to the temple later. Everything is, death is so normal. The normalization of death, right? And as a symbol, which is important for us as far as the Kalabhairavashtakam is concerned, it's a reminder that death is only a loss of certain aspects of yourself that don't serve you anymore, that you have outgrown, you need to let go of.
Even your body.
That is the ultimate thing. As far as this birth is concerned, as far as this lifetime is concerned, that is the ultimate thing. Right? But there are certain aspects of ourselves that are constantly dying. For us to grow, for us to become more expansive, for us to become bigger, there are certain aspects of ourselves that we're constantly letting go of. Right? And that transformation has to happen. Which is why death is worshipped. And the ones who bring death in the forms of Kali and Kalabhairava, they are worshipped. Shiva is associated with the graveyard. Right? Shiva is smeared with ash. Right? And in certain temples, Mahakala, he is actually smeared with the ash of the corpse that has just been burned.
Oh, okay.
So that is the first thing that is applied to Shiva. So death as part of transformation, right, is treated as sacred. So it's so beautiful because in Kashi, when all of the bodies are burning, and for someone like me who never been to a cremation ground before, to see bodies burning like that, a hand burning, hair burning, a foot burning right in front of you, it can feel like a punch in the gut, right? Because this is going to happen to everyone.
Right.
Every single person is going to end up like this, right? So if you observe a lot of the people there who are looking at the bodies burning, you can see the churning that is happening inside them. A mixture of shock and realization and liberation and so many things all at once. Right? So Kashi is a place that reminds us of the importance of death, of the beauty of death, of what death is. And Kalabhairava is someone who reminds us, who stands for that death, who kills a lesser death. So let's look at the meaning of the 8th shloka. Bhuta Sangha Nayakam. Bhuta refers to element, but it can also refer to the ghoulish spirits, right? The ghost-like spirits.
Can you even talk about your past?
Sure. Bhuta Sangha. Sangha means a collection, right? Bhuta Sangha Nayakam. So he is the chief of the Bhutas, of either the elements or of the ghost-like spirits as well. Vishala Kirti Dayakam. Vishala means large, Kirti means praise, Dayakam. So he who blesses you so that you get enormous amounts of praise. Kashi Vasa Loka Punya Papa Shodhakam Vibhu. It's very interesting here. What he does to the people of Kashi. Kashi Vasa Loka. Punya Papa Shodhakam. He cleanses them of both their punya and their papa. Now, this is interesting.
Why? Because you need liberation.
Yes. So we're not just talking about cleansing of bad karma, you're talking about cleansing good karma as well.
Only when there is a balance of both those things, you have time for liberation. And Kashi is a place of liberation.
For liberation, exactly.
Kalabhairava is a person of liberation. So,
Right. Vidhu means he who is omnipresent. In fact, it's interesting because they often tell you that when a very, very elevated, evolved soul is actually preparing itself for the ultimate experience of samadhi, they constantly keep track of their papa and their punya.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So the moment that the punya is actually matching the papa, they are liberated and they choose to give up their bodies at that point. So you are liberated. You get moksha at that point.
So it is not just the good karmas, even the bad karmas should have a balance of it.
No, in the sense that only if you are cleansed of the concept of karma itself will you be able to, but we're talking about a very high stage, of course, right? So if you want to see, liberation is not just liberation from one set of things, right? So if you want the ultimate liberation, you will have to be liberated from any kind of karma. We're talking about a very high state here, of course. Niti Marga Kovidam Puratanam Jagat Patim. Niti Marga. Marga means a path and Niti means good conduct. Kovidam means expert. So he is an expert when it comes to conduct. Because he is obviously the one who, takes stock of your karma. He is the one who punishes you if you are in adharma. He is the one who protects dharma. So he is the expert on the path, right? He is an expert on the path of niti, of conduct. Puratanam, he is ancient. Jagat Pate, he is the lord of the entire world. Kashika Puradhinatha, Kalabhairavam Bhaje. And with that, we are done with all 8 shlokas of the Kalabhairavashtakam. Let's move on to the Phalashruti now. So the Phalashruti.
What is Phalashruti to the understanding of?
Sure. Phalashruti is basically, one section of the text that tells you about what is the benefit of chanting this text.
Right.
So each text will tell you that, right? So the Phalashruti here is Kalabhairavashtakam pathanti ye manoharam jnana mukti sadhanam vichitra punya vardhanam shoka moha dainya lobha kopatapanashanam prayanti kalabhairavangri sannidhim naradruvam. Let's look at what the Phalashruti means. Kalabhairavashtakam pathanti ye manoharam. The ones who read and chant this Kalabhairavashtaka, this beautiful Kalabhairavashtaka, Jnana Mukti Sadhanam Vichitra Punya Vardhanam. They attain knowledge, they attain mukti, liberation. Vichitra Punya Vardhanam, their punya keeps increasing, right? Their good merit, right? That keeps increasing tremendously. Vardhanam is to increase, is to grow. Shoka, Moha, Dainya, Lobha, Kopa, Tapa, Nashanam. All of these things get destroyed. Shoka, sadness. Moha, desire. Dainya, weakness or wretchedness, poverty. Lobha, greed. Kopa, anger. Tapa, heat. When you really, all the collective heat of all of the different things that are sort of boiling inside you, right? All of these things are destroyed. Prayanti Kalabhairavangri Sannidhim Nara Dhruvam. And for sure, that person who chants the Kalabhairavashtakam will attain the presence of the feet of Kalabhairava. So that is the Kalabhairavashtakam, and I hope that it brings you blessings. I hope that you are able to practice it and be blessed with all of the beautiful results of chanting the Kalabhairavashtakam. May Bhairava's blessings be with you now and always.
So this episode was an effort to make somebody understand that not just mere chanting helps, but understanding of what the chants are. If you understand and then chant, see, not just that you're benefited out of it, but you understand why you're doing it so. So it is just for the sake of chanting. We are not helping, we are not asking people to chant just for the sake of doing it. We are asking them to understand the very essence of every chant here. And then you choose to either chant or not. And as ma'am chanted, I know it is not an easy, it's not everybody's cup of tea. So if you are unable to chant it, you can always listen to it. That is also helpful. But please be mindful while listening to the chants. It is not that you switch it on a podcast and you are busy doing something else. No. Please be mindful when you do things so that you get the most out of it. So this was an effort to bring out the essence of chants in our ancient scriptures. That was...
And also make sure that when you're trying to chant it with the proper pronunciation. So tune into the pronunciation, make sure that you're chanting it perfectly, because that is very important. And maybe we can also chant the whole Kalabhairavashtakam.
Yes.
If we can do that. So let's do that. So you can join us right now if you would like to. Devaraja sevyamana pavanangri pankajam vyala yajna sutramindu shekharam kripakaram naradadi yogi vrindavanditam digambaram kashikapuradhinatha kalabhairavam bhaje भानुकोटि भास्वरं भवाब्धितारकं परं नीलकण्ठमीप्सितार्थदायकं त्रिलोचनं कालकालमम्बुजाक्षमक्षशूलमक्षरं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे शूलटङ्कपाशदण्डपाणिमादिकारणं श्यामकायमादिदेवमक्षरं निरामयं भीमविक्रमं प्रभुं विचित्रताण्डवप्रियं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे मुक्तिमुक्तिदायकं प्रशस्तचारुविग्रहं भक्तवत्सलं स्थितं समस्तलोकविग्रहं विनिक्वणन्मनोज्ञहेमकिङ्किनीलसत्कटिं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे धर्मसेतुपालकं त्वधर्ममार्गनाशकं कर्मपाशमोचकं सुशर्मदायकं विभुं स्वर्णवर्णशेषपाशशोभिताङ्गमण्डलं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे रत्नपादुकाप्रभाभिरामपादयुग्मकं नित्यमद्वितीयमिष्टदैवतं निरञ्जनं मृत्युदर्पनाशनं करालदंष्ट्रमोक्षणं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे अट्टहासभिन्नपद्मजाण्डकोशसन्ततिं दृष्टिपातनष्टपापजालमुग्रशासनम् अष्टसिद्धिदायकं कपालमालिकाधरं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे भूतसङ्घनायकं विशालकीर्तिदायकं काशीवासलोकपुण्यपापशोधकं विभुं नीतिमार्गकोविदं पुरातनं जगत्पतिं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे कालभैरवाष्टकं पठन्ति ये मनोहरं ज्ञानमुक्तिसाधनं विचित्रपुण्यवर्धनं शोकमोहदैन्यलोभकोपतापनाशनं प्रयान्ति कालभैरवाङ्घ्रिसन्निधिं नराध्रुवं काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे काशिकापुराधिनाथ कालभैरवं भजे कालभैरवं भजे कालभैरवं भजे